Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you are having a great day. So in today's video, I want to share 5 of the major things that I did during my kitchen renovation, and maybe you may find it helpful. So let's go ahead and get started. When we started to take a look at the house, like the actual listing, one of the things that I saw was they had a dining table. But then when I came to actually view their house in person, I was like, even though my dining table is small, it didn't serve as enough seating or storage. So when I started to brainstorm the kitchen, I then wanted to turn my island into a dining table. I call it my island dining. I have an abundance of storage under here. So if you are questioning that the chairs are right in front of the storage, if you are planning on doing this in your home, which again, number 1 is the island dining, everything that is stored under here are things that I don't use on the regular, like my KitchenAid, blenders, hand mixers, large servingware, entertainment, everything is here. I probably open this like once a month. So moving the chairs out the way to grab 1 or 2 things doesn't really bother me, and I'm only saying once a month because recently, between our housewarming, birthdays, and like Christmas clearly is coming up, we're going to be here. But outside of that, it's not an area of the kitchen that I'm constantly having to go. So for me, this was an absolutely great addition into the renovation, and maybe something that you may want to consider when you're working in your own kitchen. If you were having a consultation and you were to ask, like, what is the benefit of this? The selling point would be the extra storage. I knew just having cabinets within this space wasn't going to be suffice. And if you remember, there was also a walk-in pantry here, which I also knocked down. I just wanted a lot of cabinet space into the kitchen, and having this definitely came in quite handy. And let me just say, my dad came here, who's a general contractor, and he deals with really large investments and just in real estate in general, and he told me like this was the best idea. So for me, I'm like, dad approved. Plus, this was something that me and babe really wanted to add into the space once I told him I no longer wanted to do a dining table, because we sold the table before we even had the whole plan, but he loved it so much that he was like, I think I'm gonna like this a whole lot better, because again, we knew how much things that we had going into the space. So this is definitely my number 1 tip to consider with your kitchen renovation is, unfortunately, doing away with your dining table and seeing how a island dining will suit you in your home. Number 2 is going to be your faucet and where they're going to be placed. Let me just say now, it would not be a Style by Casanova renovation without some level of controversy about how you guys feel about something. This was pretty much something that was up for contingency for a lot of you in terms of whether it was a good or it wasn't a good idea. For me, I felt like adding a secondary sink to the kitchen was a great idea. Although this particular U shape is small, I knew by knocking out the pantry, it was going to give the kitchen a much bigger look when you came inside of the space, right? And what this secondary sink serves is prepping, hand washing, something that I feel like with interior design, I feel like you need to solve a problem, right? And for me personally, I hate when I am washing the dishes and someone is coming in, they want to rinse a cup or they want to wash their hands or they want to do something, and then there's nowhere else to go. And so adding in a smaller sink definitely gave them that space to move, and it came in quite handy. And so if you pay close attention to my videos when I'm doing meal preps, baby's washing dishes over here, and then I'm over here doing meal preps. I can rinse my vegetables. During our housewarming, I had drinks in here, we had ice in here, and it just works. So the functionality came in so good. So even though it was something that everyone told me not to do, when I tell you this is like my top 5 things that I would never change my mind on, and in the future, definitely look out for it, because I will be doing it again and again and again. So part of the sink is also discussing the primary sink. For this, I ended up going with a 36-inch wide sink, which is honestly the biggest I think I've ever done for myself or even for a client. And I knew that I wanted something a little bit bigger because I wanted to be able to house my pots and pan in the sink. So again, don't be deterred by the size of your home in consideration with the size of your appliances and also the overall finishes. It kind of goes hand in hand where even if your room is small, you can always do like a large light fixture. So even though the kitchen, again, I'm gonna say small, but it's subjective, I still wanted the things in here to function as if I was standing in front of a really large kitchen. And so I did all of the things. So I put in a really large sink, and then I have the secondary sink. As I said previously, you can wash the dishes here, and then you just pretty much turn over and you can wash your hand on the sink, which again is something to consider when you are designing your kitchen. Number 3 on the list is drawers. Again, this is something that is really subjective. But if you like your home to be organized or your kitchen to be organized and you don't want to deal with buying all of the trinkets, then I would highly recommend doing the drawers. So here is what I would consider to be more of like the workstation area. So I have my cutlery, spoons and forks. I even have like serving bowls in here. I have plates in here, and I didn't have to worry about purchasing a lot of things. So normally during my consultation process when I'm talking to clients, I go into their home, I see what they currently have implemented in their kitchen, and then I figure out ways to implement the cabinets in a way that's cohesive to their everyday living. Considering the dining area is right across, I put everything that we possibly need for serving in this particular area here. That way we can just kind of like move effortlessly. And if you notice, it keeps you out of the kitchen just in case someone is cooking, someone is cleaning, someone is doing whatever. You are out of the way and you can still function here. Kind of very similar to a butler's pantry is what I essentially created here. So all the things that we would need for the everyday cooking is in this space, and then we bring it over here. That way everyone moves and flows and everyone's out the way. When it comes to this drawing area, I have all of our meal preps. So all of the plasticware that I use to do our meal preps in here. And again, I didn't have to worry about purchasing a bunch of organizing things. I pretty much open the drawer, place everything in here. In this drawer, Babe has all of his teas in here. We have everything, okay? I also lined the cooktop with drawers. In this particular area, the pots and pans that I use every single day goes in here, all right? So when you pull out the drawers, I have everything from my saucepan to my really large pans. They go in here. Again, I just find this to be really, really easy in terms of access and also usage. Now, because we're here, I'm just going to share one more thing with you, and then I'll go to the next one. But if you are designing your kitchen and you're really looking for overall functionality, you may also want to consider some really nice pullouts. I also have this one here, which is for your cutting board. And then these two are lined with seasoning. So technically they still serve as drawers. Instead of just having a cabinet, sometimes I feel like in having the cabinet, you end up housing a lot of things that when you are ready to use them, you find that they're expired. Or what I've seen people do is they put lazy Susans within those closets, and then they kind of like, I don't want to do that. So I would definitely say, if you are designing your kitchen, to look into ways of adding in pull-outs, drawers, to make it just a lot more functional. Especially, again, I'm going to keep saying this, if your kitchen isn't offering all the space that you need. Clearly, if you have a larger home and you're designing your kitchen, then you can put things wherever you want to put them. You can have all the, fancy things in the kitchen. But I really had to figure out what was going to be the thing that was going to make the kitchen and give it a wow factor. Not only for us, but definitely in the future, if we ever decide to sell, what would someone be looking for? And just looking at the kitchen within itself, it doesn't look like a big deal until you step into it and you start seeing all of the pull-outs, all of the drawers, and all of the things that I feel like were really well thought out. This one here is my favorite part, but it has everything to do with your lighting. Okay, so basically we already know you have the ambient light, your main light, your tax light. And so with this renovation, I wanted to put all the lights in here, and I did. For our home, we ended up going with Lutron. This isn't sponsored. I just absolutely love Lutron. So I want you just to take a look at the lighting behind you, because you're gonna see that the above cabinet light, they're all on dimmers. So I'm gonna drop that down, and you're just gonna see how this also creates a really nice ambiance, right? The main lighting, I'm gonna lower that also so you can see that. And you can see how the kitchen is getting darker. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that off. And then I'm gonna cut the sconce lights off. And now if you take a look at the cabinet light, just in case if you want to see it again, I'm gonna show you the above cabinet. This is it at its brightest. That way you can pay attention to just one set of lighting. And this is it at its dimmer. The fact that everything is at a dimmer, I'm just trying to tell you, it creates such a look. I hope it's being conveyed on camera. That's just simply a bonus, is if you do want to create a smart home, what are going to be your options? And again, I highly recommend Lutron. So in the kitchen, we have sconce lights, we have the 3 pendants, we have recess, and then we also have the upper cabinet lighting in here, and everything has a reason. So when it comes to the sconce lights, when I want to entertain or we're doing date nights at home, I'm able to really dim the lights and create a really nice ambiance in here without having all the lights be super bright. And so lighting definitely sets the mood and the tone in the space. And so even though the way the kitchen was designed, I wanted to be able to have those options of lighting. Also, when we're having dinner, I will only have on the pendant lights within the space, so that way it highlights the table. I'll do a tablescape, I'll do the florals, I'll have the candles on here, so that way we have an opportunity to just really talk, and it's just us, and you don't see the furniture, you don't see the kitchen, you don't see anything. It's just like a really nice dining experience. This is subjective 100%. You don't have to do this. These are just pretty much ideas that I'm sharing with you that may interest you if you're going into your kitchen renovation. Lastly, number 5. I really wanted to have the samples here with me, but tomorrow I'm going to the cabinet store, so I'll be doing a video on the full scheme of cabinetry. Cabinet color is number 5. This is, to me, like a must-have. I feel like if you don't necessarily know the direction in which you want to go into design, white is just safe. Let's just be honest. White is just safe. And this is probably why you're seeing so many people go with white. Because if you don't work with an interior designer, then you have no idea what the color of your flooring is going to be, the wall's going to be, the furniture. And what you don't want to do is select a cabinet color that just throws off the entire design. And white is just a really safe choice. But keep in mind, when it comes to me selecting white, I also wanted white. I feel like white tends to be very cohesive. It plays well with the design. I'm able to implement color whenever I want to into the space. I'm able to do tablescapes. I can change with content for the holiday season, Christmas, and it just really hits nicely when you're in and you're cooking and you're doing things in there, right? Now, let me just share with you the cabinet company that I use to do this kitchen. They have black, they have blue. Well, they have 2 different shades of blue. They have a natural. They have so many different color options. And if I could have gone with something else, I would have probably chosen the cabinet that was out of budget. Also keep that in mind when you are doing your cabinets. Budget really matters, okay? So with the island, we ended up going with a much darker color. This cabinet was more in terms of price versus the white. I don't know, white just tends to be a little bit less inexpensive, so when we do color. I'm currently working on someone's kitchen and she's going with a more natural, and it's a mixed tone kitchen. And I can be honest with you, we're already looking at about $40,000 now. That's what she wanted to spend, but considering I knew that this wasn't going to be like our forever home, you just make a really different investment. And so I'm saying this to you, that if you do like white and that's what you want, don't allow anyone to deter you from that. I feel like it can be just as sexy and as regal. And I've seen an all black kitchen that I think is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not there in my life just yet. You know, to me, it just creates a very just depressing mood for me, and I just don't want to do that. But those are the 5 things that I wanted to share with you in terms of kitchen renovation, where to go. We still have a little bit more things to implement into the kitchen and a few things to change out, because baby, things just been happening. But thus far, I can tell you that the way the kitchen has come together, I'm absolutely loving it. And more than anything else, I love when someone comes into the home and they're able to also access the space and they don't feel very tight in the space. You know, we've had friends in here, we've had family in here. My birthday came, my aunt was here, my dad was here, we were all in the kitchen, and it just felt so freeing. Everyone was sitting at the dining, they were eating, I was at the sink, then I was cooking, no one was in my way. And I just feel like, again, part of design is solving a problem. It doesn't have to be a really big problem, but if it's something that puts your mind at ease and puts you at a relaxing mode, then I would definitely tell you to do your best to give yourself that level of freedom when you are designing. But you guys, that is pretty much it for today. I will see you next time. Bye.